My mother-in-law grabbed my passport and set it on fire. I watched as it burned quickly and turned into ashes. Now you can't go to St. Bart's Island for your vacation, she said. What? Why would you? I stammered. You're not going anywhere, you'll stay here, she added with a smirk. I looked at her and my husband, both of them were smiling like they had won something. I felt completely humiliated. How could they treat me like this? Deep down, I had suspected they were up to something, but I never imagined it would be this cruel. Their smug looks and creepy giggles made me feel sick. But I wasn't going to let them have the last word. It was time to tell them the truth. My name is Tyra, and I'm 29 years old. I studied linguistics in college, and after graduation, I began exploring the world, learning about different languages and cultures, and sharing that knowledge with others. I work for an organization that sends me abroad for months at a time to participate in various projects. Because of this, I never thought I'd get married. But at 26, when I returned to my home country, I met Corey. He later became my husband. Our relationship wasn't typical. Because of my job, I would only see him for a few months before traveling again. During those times apart, we stayed connected through phone calls and emails. After 2 years, we got married when I was 28, but even after the wedding, my job didn't change. I still spent half the year abroad. I appreciated Corey for marrying me, despite my career. Today, I'm finally on my way home after 5 months abroad. Even though I should be tired from the flight, I feel excited to see Corey. My steps are light, and I'm walking quickly. When I got home, Corey wasn't there yet. The house was a mess, so I started cleaning. I had told him so many times to keep the house tidy, but it was always like this. Usually, I'd argue with him about it, but today I let it slide. I was just happy to be home and about to see him again. While cooking dinner, I heard the front door open. I rushed over to the living room. Corey, you're home. I missed you, I said, smiling. Oh, hey, Tyra, you're back. That was today, huh? He replied casually. Really? Is that all you have to say? I asked, disappointed. We haven't seen each other in 5 months. Yeah, but I'm used to it by now. This is normal for us, he said, shrugging. What? Can't you at least say you missed me? He sighed. I'm tired. Is dinner ready? I held back my frustration and said, yeah, it's ready. Let's eat. I had imagined dinner with Corey would feel special since it had been months since we last ate together, but it felt off. Why do you keep looking at your phone? I finally asked. What's wrong with that? He snapped. I just got home. Corey, you haven't even talked to me properly. You're glued to your phone, I said, trying to stay calm. We've been talking through phones and emails for months. There's nothing new to say, he replied, sounding annoyed. But it's been so long since we've actually seen each other, I said, my voice rising in frustration. That seemed to push him over the edge. He stood up, slammed his phone on the table, and glared at me angrily. You know what? You've been on a plane, but I'm the one tired from work. Got it? Corey snapped. I frowned. Hold on, I came straight from work to the airport, too. Don't talk to me like that. I didn't ask you to do that, he said coldly. You came rushing home on your own. What? Do you have to say it like that? I missed you, Corey. Well, I didn't ask you to come back. If you're going to act like this, don't come back at all. You're so annoying, Tyra. He slammed the table, got up, and stormed out without even touching the dinner I'd made. I sat there, stunned. What's wrong with him? Why is he being so cold? I haven't seen him in so long. Was I the only one happy to be reunited? What was the point of hurrying back if this was how he'd treat me? Tears rolled down my face and dripped onto the table. The next morning, Corey's attitude was still the same. When I said, "Good morning," he just gave me a cold look and said, "You know, I envy you." What do you mean? I asked, confused. You get to sit around at home while you're here. Must be nice. That's not true. I have plenty to do, like writing reports, preparing materials, and getting ready for the next training session. There's a lot more work than you think. Yeah, but it's all stuff you can do at home. I wish I had a cushy job like that. Must be nice to be you. Hey, you don't have to say it like that. Whatever, I'm just a regular guy with a 9-to-5 job, so I have to actually work. You just get to relax here, princess. Excuse me, Corey, that's not fair. But before I could finish, he walked out the door, leaving me standing there, speechless. Before we got married, Corey and I had some arguments, but he had never been this sarcastic or cold. His recent behavior left me feeling confused and unsure of what to do. I wondered if I was doing something wrong or if there was a way to fix things. While taking a break from reading work materials, I decided to clean the house. I vacuumed the rooms and changed the bedding when my phone suddenly rang. The screen showed my mother-in-law's name. A bad feeling crept over me as I picked up the call. "Hello, this is Tyra," I said. "Tyra, long time no see," she said with fake cheerfulness. "I heard you came back yesterday." "Yes, I did. And I heard you upset Corey. He's quite angry, you know." "That's really between us," I replied, trying to stay polite. "Well," she continued, ignoring me, "since you're back, I thought we could take a trip with the whole family." "What?" I blurted out, caught off guard. "Oh, yes, my husband and I were planning a vacation to St. Bart's Island, and Corey said he wanted to come with us. It's perfect." "What? That doesn't." "So, Tyra, since you're so used to traveling abroad, you can help us with booking the hotels and flights, right?" "Me? Or are you saying you can't handle a simple request from your mother-in-law?" Her tone grew colder. I knew what this was. She didn't want to travel with me. She just wanted to use me because I was experienced with planning trips. My mother-in-law had disliked me from the beginning. Ever since our wedding reception, she'd been sarcastic and critical. Over the years, she sent me nasty messages while I worked abroad. "How can you call yourself a wife when you're gone for months at a time? If you can't take care of your home, my son should marry someone else. It was a mistake to let him marry you." I had never expected kindness from her, but now I was being roped into managing a family vacation. I hated how I couldn't say no, even though I knew I was being taken advantage of. Later that evening, Corey came home from work. He seemed in a much better mood than before. Throwing his briefcase on the sofa, he grinned and said, "Mom called you, didn't she? We're all going to St. Bart's." "Yeah, she told me," I said hesitantly. But what? Why don't you just go with your parents like you originally planned?" I suggested. Corey's cheerful expression immediately darkened. He clicked his tongue in annoyance and glared at me. "You need to get it through your head, Tyra," he said sharply. "The only time you're actually useful to us is when we're traveling abroad. That's not fair." "You don't have to speak to me like that," I said, frustrated. "But it's true, isn't it? Anyway, you're going to book the flights and accommodations, and, of course, everything will be under my name." "Wait, so are you paying for the trip?" I asked. "Are you kidding? We'll split it 50-50. It's the least you can do to show respect to my parents," he said dismissively. "What does that even mean? If you've got time to sit around the house, you've got time to make the reservations. Get it done," he said harshly, grabbing a beer from the fridge. I wanted to protest, but I was too scared of the consequences. Feeling ashamed and powerless, I gave in and booked the flights and accommodations for the family trip, just as Corey and his mother had demanded. On the day of the trip, I drove to my in-laws' house to pick them up so we could head to the airport. A few days before the trip, I couldn't sleep well. In the middle of the night, I woke up and noticed that Corey wasn't in bed beside me. I went into the living room and overheard him on the phone. "Mom, it's all okay. I'll be there in the morning like we planned. Just take care of the passport thing. I'm looking forward to it. I'll introduce her to you when I get back." His words made me uneasy. Passport and introducing her made me wonder what he was talking about. The fact that he called her mom told me it was definitely my mother-in-law on the phone. It seemed like there was something going on between them that I didn't know about. And the fact that they had asked me to come on this trip in the first place didn't sit right. What were they planning? I didn't know the full picture, but I knew I needed to be careful. The day of the trip arrived. I grabbed my carry-on and handbag, which Corey had asked me to pack, and we drove to my in-laws' house. When we arrived, my mother-in-law greeted us with a smug smile. "Hey, Tyra, you're here. It's been a while. We're almost ready. I'm just grabbing a few last-minute things, so please wait a little longer." "Okay, no problem. By the way, Tyra, could you bring the carry-on from the other room? It's heavy, so Corey can help you with it." "Sure." As I went to grab the case, I noticed my husband and mother-in-law exchange a knowing look. I kept my passport in my pocket, just in case. At Corey's request, I brought the case into the living room. That's when I saw my mother-in-law holding my passport with a smug grin on her face. Now you can't go on the trip to St. Bart's, she said. What do you mean? I asked, confused. I'm going to burn this passport right now, she replied. What did you just say? I demanded. I was just using you to make the trip arrangements, she said coldly. The reveal. What the hell are you doing? I asked as my mother-in-law set my passport on fire. You're staying here, too bad, she said with a smirk. She burned the passport, watching it turn to ashes in the sink. When it was done, she turned to me, grinning. We did it. Corey jumped in with excitement. Yeah, Mom, we made it. No, it's just the three of us on this trip. We'll meet Corey's new girlfriend when we get back, right? Yeah, Corey said. I've already set it up. We don't need you anymore. Proudly, my mother-in-law added, when something's not working, you fix it. Corey then pulled out his phone and showed me pictures of the woman he'd been having an affair with. Looking at me smugly, he said, I'm not divorcing you for my reputation, but you're staying here while we go. When we return, I'll move in with her, and you can leave. His words were cruel, but they only made me more certain I didn't deserve to be a part of their family anymore. I smiled and said, by the way, whose passport was that? What? Of course, it's yours. I took it from your handbag. My passport? I'm so sorry, I said sarcastically, but my passport is right here. What? No. My mother-in-law's face turned pale as I showed her my passport. She had assumed she'd burned mine, but it turned out to be Corey's passport. Wait, whose passport did I burn then? She asked, panicking. I guess it was my husband's, I said casually. That means, it was your son's passport you burned. My mother-in-law turned pale as Corey yelled at her. Mom, what did you do? I told you to be careful, she argued. There was only one passport in her handbag. How was I supposed to know? They started fighting, blaming each other, and I was disgusted by the scene. Hey, Tyra, do something, Corey yelled at me. I snapped back. Seriously? You cheated on me, and you're telling me what to do? You and your mother are disgusting. Before they could argue more, my father-in-law came downstairs. What's going on here? He asked. I explained everything, and he was furious. The trip was cancelled, and my mother-in-law was divorced. My husband was disowned by his father and banned from returning home. I consulted a lawyer, divorced Corey, and demanded alimony from both him and my ex-mother-in-law. They had to pay everything up front, and since they didn't have the money, they had to borrow it. Now, my ex-husband lives with his mother and struggles to make ends meet. The woman he had an affair with dumped him too. As for me, I moved out with the alimony money, rented a condo, and enjoy living alone. I went through a lot because of cheating and bullying, but now I'm free and happy. I still travel, explore new cultures, and share my experiences with the world. Thank you for reading to the end. Please subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this story. See you next time.